What's up everyone, welcome Squad and welcome to Slav Guns. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at this mid-priced optic from Sightmark, the Sightmark Latitude 8-32 F-Class Rifle Scope. Welcome everyone and a welcome back to my current subscribers. I appreciate you watching my videos and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date with my latest videos, including our ongoing series on precision rifles, including this Ruger Precision Rifle and 6.5 PRC. The benchmark scope for our series is the Leupold Mark V HD 5-25 front focal plane optic that I first used out at FTW Ranch in Texas at distances past 2,300 yards. It's a superb optic, but around $2,500 it may be simply too much optic at too high a price tag for most people to justify. If you haven't done so already, take a look at the video done for the scope, including a Q&A with the Leupold engineer, which I'll include there. What I wanted to do for this video is to find a mid-priced optic that would be within most people's budgets, that would get you 90% of the high-end optics, but with a much more manageable price tag. This is why we're looking at this Latitude 8-32x60 F-Class rifle scope from Sightmark. I completely recognize that Sightmark is not a household name such as Leupold, Nightforce, Bushnell, or even Nikon. This is actually the fourth optic that I'm looking at from Sightmark, the second on this channel, and there are two others that I did for a different channel. In the past, I found Sightmark to produce both very good optics at very reasonable prices and value optics that where someone really ought to spend more money and get something better. So which optic is this? Let's start with the features and then I'll give you my first impressions. This scope is the Sightmark Latitude 8-32x60. The Latitude series of optics sits in the middle of the price and features range in the Sightmark product lineup. At the low end, you have the Citadel line of optics, which we've looked at in the past, and while the glass was of pretty good quality, I was on the fence about the value and some of the features. You can find the video I did linked above. So then you have the Core and the Rapid series of optics that are great for the AR platform, and they have some really good quality glass. Then you have this guy, which is the Latitude series of optics, and above it you have the aptly named Pinnacle series of optics. The Latitude series offers 5 optics made for precision and bench rest shooting. This optic features a magnification range of between 8 and 32, and you have 2 optics with a range of 10 to 40. The two 10 to 40s differ in the reticle choice. The 3 scopes feature a 60mm front objective. You also have 2 optics that are 6 1/4 to 25 in magnification, and they feature a 56mm front objective. All of the scopes feature a second focal plane etched reticle, with the exception of the 6 1/2 to 25 PRS rifle scope, which has a front focal plane reticle. Once again, the difference is that with a front focal plane reticle, the reticle size changes with the level of magnification. With a second focal plane reticle, the reticle size stays the same throughout the magnification range. These optics all use a 34mm tube body made of aircraft-grade aluminum. The 34mm body increases the internal adjustment range of the scope, and as per Sightmark, you have 110 MOA of adjustment in elevation and 70 in windage. For the front focal plane PRS reticle, that equates into 31 millirads in elevation, 20 millirads in windage adjustments. The reticles are also illuminated red and green and are powered by a single CR2032 battery that will last anywhere between 30 and 2000 hours based on the brightness setting that you choose. The overall scope is then finished with a hard anodized finish, and that creates an IP67 shockproof, fogproof, and waterproof package. The scopes are rated to withstand up to a 50 BMG. So one central feature of the scope is that it comes with these nice oversized adjustment turrets. This 8-32 and the 10-40 scopes feature 1/8 MOA click adjustments, and the 6.5-25 scope has 1/4 MOA adjustment, with one of them being a millirad, which is 1/10 click. One nice to have feature that is almost a must for long range shooting is having a zero stop, which you have on the elevation dial. Moving back, you have a locking fast focus eyepiece that you can adjust so you can clearly see the reticle if you have eye issues or you need to wear glasses. Once you set the focus, you then lock it in and you're not going to be able to move it back in. In a sense, it's like a zero stop for your diopter setting. So you find the texture on all three, on the parallax adjustment, on the magnification ring, and even the turrets, and it's going to let you quickly and easily adjust them even if you have gloves on. The glass on the scope is quite good and features fully multi-coated optics. The reticle here is the F-class reticle, and it features a 0.06 MOA central dot that would cover 0.6 inches at 1,000 yards at maximum magnification. The parallax adjustment here is from 20 yards out to infinity, and the field of view ranges from 16.1 feet to 4 feet depending on the magnification rate. The scope is designed right here in the United States, and it's assembled and made in the Philippines. Now, I am a sucker for packaging, and the scope comes with a fairly nice box. Inside, you'll find the scope, the instruction manual, a CR2032 battery for the illuminated reticle, and you're going to find the sunshade. Now, contrary to the name, the sunshade is actually most useful in adverse conditions such as rain or snow, where the sunshade will help prevent moisture from getting to the front objective and mess up your image. All of this comes with a lifetime warranty from Sightmark and a price of just under $800. So let's throw some lead down range and talk about my shooting impressions. Let's turn this in whole. That's 3 in 1 hole, basically. Okay. I think if I quit at this point, the rifle speaks for itself. For most, the first practical difference between a good scope and a bad scope is going to come down to 2 things: the quality of the glass and the quality of the turrets. When setting up and working with the scope, you can instantly appreciate the quality of the turrets and the adjustments. So, starting back here with the fast focus, one of the nice things with the diopter is that you have a consistently smooth experience throughout the range, and that's not going to be something that you find with a lot of the cheaper scopes. Moving forward, the magnification ring, it's a pretty good size, and it does have a very nice grip texturing that you can kind of get your hands on. But I do think, and I think that's what the space is here for, I would add on a magnification, the throw rings. So moving on here, the parallax is really good. So generally, I'm not a big fan of optics that have illumination and the parallax together in one turret, but they are of different sizes, so you can definitely tell where the parallax is versus the illumination. And the parallax adjustment here in particular is super smooth, and you definitely don't need to take your face off of the target in order to adjust the parallax, which we did have to do with the Sightmark Citadel optic that I looked at before. I mean, the adjustments were very tough to make with the parallax. So the turrets are pretty good size, and you should have no issues manipulating them, whether you have big hands, small hands, or even wearing gloves. So the turrets, they adjust up and down consistent with the tree, much like you would find at other optics in this price point. On the feel, the turrets, they do have a nice tactile adjustment that you can easily feel, but it does transfer over better if you do close your eyes and concentrate on the clicks. They're also fairly audible, much better indoors obviously than out here. However, I would still be more focused on the tactile and the turret caps that you're going to have here. So I just go by the turrets for your coarse adjustments, and then you can feel the clicks for your fine adjustments. And the only thing that I would say is, because you have the 1/8 click adjustments, if you're counting a lot of clicks, it is fairly simple to overrun the number of clicks that you're counting. So just take your time and pay attention with it. Pay attention to what the turret caps have. So let's take a look at the glass. The scope features a 34mm tube that allows a lot of light to get in, which is definitely going to help with more adverse lighting conditions. Now, on a day like today, where there is bright sunny skies and not a cloud in the sky, pretty much any scope is going to do really well in bright conditions. It's when the sun starts setting, that's where you're going to be able to tell the difference between good glass, great glass, and glass. On a previous trip, I had 3 different optics with me. So I had this Sightmark, I had our Leupold Mark V HD, and I had another lower end optic that I'm testing, the Nikko Sterling 6-24. So while during the day, all of the scopes did a great job, right around 6 o'clock, as the sun started going down, the cheaper Nikko Sterling scope almost became unusable, and at maximum magnification, it got really dark. So with this Latitude, while it did get a little bit dimmer, it was still very much usable. And with the Leupold, there were no issues whatsoever, simply because, I mean, that's a 35mm tube, and it does use much better quality glass that is meant for shooting in those type of conditions. With this Latitude, while no doubt the sight picture was a little bit darker, it was still very much usable out to 300 yards, and even looking at the trees and everything behind. Had no issues whatsoever with it. With this being my 4th Sightmark product, I'm starting to get a good sense of what we can expect. In general, the glass is good quality, and the scope overall is very good. The downside generally resided with the manipulation of the scopes. As soon as I got this guy in and had a chance to play with it for a few minutes, I instantly knew that this was going to be a pretty good scope. All of that centered predominantly around how smooth and easy it is to work with the optic as it relates to the manipulation of the windage, elevation, and parallax turrets. If you're looking for a good value in the mid-priced optics market and you refuse to spend more than $1,000, then this scope is seriously worth trying. It'll give you the features that you need, and it'll let you work with it without fighting you. And as long as you're not shooting in fringe conditions, such as very late in the afternoon or very early in the morning, then it won't hold you back. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the like button and share the video if you learned something new, and hit subscribe and click the bell to catch the latest episodes of our series on precision rifles, featuring great rifles, scopes, and accessories for every budget. As always, thanks for watching, keep on squatting, and I'll see you next time.